Have you ever heard of gynecomastia?
I had it.
And so did you have that fixed?
Yes, I did.
And did that make you feel affirmed in your gender and comfortable in your body?
No, when I was in the Navy, nobody knows this, by the way. Jesus, now I'm revealing I need a HIPAA form to sign here.
A biologist student confront Franks about transgenderism, and it gets really heated. I'm excited for you guys to watch this. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben. This is Faith Unfiltered, where we speak truth in all things, especially when it comes to world events and debates and things like this. So I'm excited for you guys. This is eye-opening when it comes to gender theory, because Frank talks from a place of truth, and a lot of times when people hear truth, they think that is coming from a place of hate, right? And so that's a similar situation with Charlie Kirk, and Frank is actually a mentor to Charlie Kirk. He was there on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and so this is really gonna be great. Yeah, so let's jump right into it and see what he has to say. All right, let's see what the student has to say, y'all.
What do you have to say for people who don't fit in your definition of man or woman? I'm a biologist. I understand the biology. Are you saying that a woman is only a person who has 2 X chromosomes and a man who is someone who only has an X and a Y chromosome?
I think that's the scientific definition, yes.
It's actually not, because there can be people with XXY. There can be Y chromosome inactivation. The way that this biology works is that you have genes. Those genes make proteins. Those proteins develop the traits that you define as men and women. They develop the features that you define as male. They develop the genitalia. But you can be a woman with female genitalia and be XY. You can be a man, but you can have XX chromosome.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, Grace. You're talking about a very rare condition known as intersexed. Right.
1 in 100 people experience chromosomal differences in sex.
Okay, but not 1 in 100 have different genitalia or ambiguous genitalia.
And what do you say to those people?
Well, what you say is that's a situation that is not the norm. We're not saying that they're not people, obviously. As I understand it, maybe you know more about it than me, when you do have a truly intersexed person, at that point, either the parents or when they're old enough, they can decide which way they're going to orient themselves, and they can get the appropriate surgery. But that's not what we're experiencing in our culture.
It's okay.
So what Frank is saying is pretty much that it's outside of the norm. Yes, people can have XXY chromosomes, but it's very, very rare. But that's not the norm. So it's like the analogy that I give you guys, right? If a person is born with 1 leg, that's obviously a rare case. But if a person with 2 good working legs decide that, you know what, I think I was born with 1 leg, but I have 2. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off that other leg so that way I can feel like I'm myself again. Again, the key word here is feel. Like my feelings dictate what I should do in my life, right? And in the Bible, it often says that your feeling is a deceiver of all, right? So we have to put God's word before our feeling. And in this case, it's the same thing. Just because you feel like you have 1 leg does not mean that you should have 1 leg. And no doctor or surgeon in their right mind would cut off a person's leg because they tell them that, hey, I feel like I should have 1 leg, so therefore I need you to cut it off, right? No surgeon in their right mind would do that. But that's what we're doing with our kids today. That's what we're doing with our teenagers. We're doing that to kids that are in middle school and even in elementary school. Think about that. That's crazy. And so Frank's going to go on and talk about how he's not against people doing whatever they want to do after they're 18. But he is against doing this to kids that are much younger.
For people to decide their gender.
In that situation, but that's not what we're talking about in our culture. What we're talking about in our culture are people with perfectly normal functioning sexual organs trying to have them removed and trying to transition to another gender, which is impossible scientifically.
Have you ever doubted that you're a man? You've doubted that you...
Oh, have I ever doubted I'm a man? No, I have never doubted I'm a man.
Then what do you say to a transgender person who has never doubted their gender? You're saying that we all change and that obviously transgenderism is a product of some kind of phase, but you've never doubted that you're a man. So
No, look,
where's your development of this change?
Grace, I'm not denying there are people truly with gender dysphoria. I've already said that. What I'm saying is the way out of that problem is not surgery according to the data. Okay? Psychiatry is the way out of that problem.
I also don't agree with your statement that after surgery, you implied that transgender people are more likely to commit suicide after surgery. But the statistics say that transgender people are more likely to commit suicide because of arguments that you make that they're invalid.
No, I'm not saying they're invalid.
I'm just saying that you implied that it's the surgery that's causing suicide.
No, it's
rates.
not. What I'm saying is the surgery doesn't fix anything. That's the point. It's practically the same rate, whether they have the surgery or not.
If you woke up and grew breasts today, would like them to be removed? There are men.
Say that again?
Have you ever heard of gynecomastia?
I had it.
And so did you have that fixed?
Yes, I did.
And did that make you feel affirmed in your gender and comfortable in your body?
No, when I was in the Navy, nobody knows this, by the way. Jesus, now I'm revealing I need a HIPAA form to sign here or something.
You don't have to talk about it.
No, what I'm saying is, yes, I've had that myself and had it surgically removed when I was in the Navy. Yeah.
And do you feel more comfortable in your body and more affirmed in your gender because of that?
Well, it wasn't a gender thing for me. It was the fact, well, I can't even get into it now because it had nothing to do with my gender. Okay. So it had to do with the fact that it looked really odd. Let me just put it that way. Okay. But Grace, my point is if we truly care about people, are we going to try and force them down a road, particularly as children, into a solution to a problem which is proven not to be a solution?
You just said that having that surgery made you feel better about yourself.
That has nothing to do with transgender surgery. I wasn't changing my sex. I was having breast tissue removed. Okay? I was always a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So...
And say that I have XY chromosomes, but I'm born with female genitalia and female body types, but I believe I'm a man. Should I not be allowed to have that breast tissue removed?
As an adult, you can do whatever you want.
Yes, that's fine.
My problem is with the children.
Yep.
That's where I'm having a real problem.
Is there a magic button at 18 that instantly makes you feel like you know who you are and absolutely what your gender is? I think for women it's probably like 15. For men it's 37. To be honest with you, okay? Thanks. Because men don't develop as quickly as women, all right? But no, we've just chosen 18 kind of as the adulthood crossing point, although for some issues it's 21, like drinking, okay? So, no, maybe it's later than 18, okay? My big problem, and I would say this to somebody who's 37, that the surgery does not appear to help anyone. And if you want more data on this, you can go to sexchangeregret.com. Sexchangeregret.com. But I wouldn't even be talking about this issue unless I thought the current way the culture's going is hurting people. And it is. Why would I bring all this abuse on myself? I'd just like to say that I disagree.
Okay.
Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you, Grace.
I think the biggest thing that I got from this and just transgenderism in general is that this culture and the society tells us to focus so much on our feelings, and our feelings should dictate everything that we do. If you don't feel good about this, then you shouldn't do it. If this doesn't make you happy, you shouldn't do it. If you feel like you're a man, then you should grow a penis. But if you feel like you're a woman, then, cut off your penis. Like, grow some breasts, take some estrogen. See, our feelings doesn't dictate our reality. It doesn't, right? Regardless how I feel about 2 + 2, it's always going to be 4, even if I feel like it might be 6 or 5. And that's the same thing that's what Frank is saying. That's the same thing with our genetics. We're either XX or XY. And in those very, very, very rare cases, we can be XXY. but those are very rare. Even then, right, they would have to decide. They're even then in those cases, they often are more leaning towards one sex, right? So this is where I truly believe people that live in the Bible, that live by the Bible, that has a biblical way of life, would never be in this kind of situation. Because God tells us so many times that our heart is the greatest deceiver. So in Jeremiah, it says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? Right? So we have to learn how to put God's word above our own feelings and what we want to do. And we have to seek His wisdom and His knowledge, because our heart is extremely deceitful. So don't follow your feelings. Follow God's words. If you enjoyed that video, please hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who you think might benefit from it. All right? Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. God bless. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. See you later.